Ci siamo, raga, pronto? Prontissimo, ci siamo? Ci siamo tutti? Tutti. Ok, bella. Ma perché alcune volte fa giochetti. Ora che endgame dovrebbe salire Setti. Sendri è l'altro, il suo amico. Scrivete nei commenti come si chiama. Di più, ragazzi, chi vincerà per voi le FNCS? Scrivete, ragazzi, e vi darò, e ragazzi vi segnerò nella sezione community, perché faremo l'Italy Cup. Ognuno deve stare con o qualcuno che ha detto la stessa scelta di un altro, o che ha scelto qualcuno che è in duo con qualcun altro. Quindi questo torneo sarà in duo all'Italy Cup. L'Italy Cup sarà in duo. Capito? In duo, signori. Quelli con meno kill ne hanno tolti. Poi, ragazzi, scrivete nei commenti chi vincerà la FNCS tra Malibuca, Mr. Savage, Tyson, Setti, l'amico di Setti, Mongra non c'è, Buga. Scrivete nei commenti chi vincerà, ragazzi, chi vincerà la FNCS. Per me Setti, raga, mamma mia, sono diventato Setti. Per ragazzi, ha vinto l'Invitational, madonna mia, cioè, che ha vinto tutti i tornei importanti Setti, Setti, quando c'era il torneo importante, la Grand Final, il 2 stagione 8 l'ha vinta. Ora, alla fine di questo capitolo l'ha vinta pure. No, adesso voglio vedere capitolo 1. Ehi bro, secondo te chi vince l'FNCS? Secondo te chi vince l'FNCS? Non c'è, meno male. Secondo te chi vince l'FNCS? Sono curioso. Secondo me Setti, raga. Oppure Setti la vince la quarta season per la fine. Il capitolo 4. Secondo te chi vincerà l'FNCS? Tra Buca. Allora, ti dico chi c'è. Merda, la grammatica è migliorata di un botto, devo dire. Aspetta. Ok, sei tu. Malibuca, Buga, Mr. Savage, Tyson, Setti, l'amico di Setti. Sì, in questa FNCS. Sì, c'è Mr. Savage, Tyson, Veno, Malibuca, Setti, l'amico di Setti, Buga e altri. Vabbè, chi scegli? Quelli più conosciuti del torneo. C'è Beno pure, che c'è forte. Buga, vediamo. Buga con chi è? Ah, Kami, vero, si chiamava Kami, l'amico di Semi. Setti. Io cerco Setti, madonna mia. Fortissimo Setti. Setti ha vinto 2 di fila. Vabbè, 2 di fila la vince pure Tyson. Però ok. Non so manco se Buga c'è. Alla fine c'è. Ti sfido, sì. Se vuoi sfidarmi, entra nella mia partita e facciamo una box fight. No, adesso tutto a tema di quella stagione. Io ero così nel capitolo 2, capitolo 3 stagione 4. Il capitolo 3 stagione 4 ero così. Ero così, signori. Chi cazzo è? Vabbè. Ma per giunta la spadata, ma questo è scarsissimo, manca un punto, Ma ci stiamo scherzando, dai. Ora che è endgame dovrebbe apparire 7 Kami. Dovrebbero apparire. Ma che mi pare un player che stava plana. Ma non c'è setti. Focus Vortex. Vengo. Tu non mi pare che non giochi da PlayStation, non puoi venire alle parti. Cavolo. Entrare però nel gruppo, sì, entrare nel gruppo. Possiamo parlare. Oppure mi scrivi in chat, preparati. Mister Savage, eccolo, Mister Savageone. Con quel biondo e con la faccia sembra un cinese, perfetto. Chi cazzo se l'aspettava che poi mi sto guardando i profil carrier? E chi cazzo se l'aspettava che usciva con amici per giocare a basket? Chi lo sapeva? Nessuno. Nessuno al mondo. Io Setti l'ho conosciuto da i migliori player europei. Migliori pad player, migliori player. Sono incuriosito di vedere sto Setti. Ed è forte. Che belva. Ti dico un Black Goku adesso, però basta, dai. Ok che qua mi vedo a 300 centimetri, 300 chilometri dalla TAFE. Però come cavolo devo fare, ragazzi, me lo spiegate? In teoria dovrebbero essere 20 chilometri per più o meno. Poi ok. Poda. Se vuoi seguire le FNCS ti consiglierei di seguirla qua. Lascia like. E poi è appena uscito uno short. Lo short parla di una nuova skin, Scarlet Ostrich. Questo Scarlet Ostrich dovrebbe uscire tra poco o come pass battaglia o come item shop. E questa skin, indovinate chi l'ha creata? Io, Photoshop. Come dice il nome, non mi ricordo. Askrick. La Nintendo scarica. Vabbè, non lo so. Ok. Dalle FNCS non lo so. Ma tutti sto assalto usano. Non voglio vedere qual è il meta di sta season. Ma sto assalto fa un danno cane poi. Vero? Gaspa ha ragione quando lo mettevo quell'assalto. Quell'assalto è potentissimo. Guardate, tutti la utilizzano, non prequisi. Ma poi Kame, che senso ha? Ma poi chi lo sapeva che Setti faceva parte dei Tundra? Perché guardate. Ma nei suoi video non era Tundra, non era segnato Tundra. Vedete? Chiami Setti. Però non esce il team. Potrebbe essere veramente quel team. Mister Savage, vediamo che ci combina. 0 kill mi pare. Ah, una 1. Potrebbe vincere Mister Savage. Mister Savage è ovvio che si qualifica. Poi secondo me, cavolo, ma Fasterò chi si qualifica pure. Lui è l'unico che ha sta pistola. Che cavolo. Ma c'è il suo compagno.
and actually going to pick one up. Would they be able to get the before these loaders? There's other eyes on it, but they will be able to commit the mats and get in and out. That's really nice from for Stroke and Hydro.
More of a chip damage on Hydro, but absolutely perfect. The Seti picks up one as people start to move it to the task and taste it. Ooh. And in terms of saying, nah, not confident, they're looking pretty good sky high right now.
Right now, above the rest of the lobby, first move and pulling towards that north side. And as we move further and further towards Mega, we'll see a lot of these players start to fall, but these guys in the prime position to pick things up.
Hype kind of different now. A lot of players can blade stall and just look all the way towards the skies.
Come Tyson 100% win. Ma ragazzi, è barare questo. Ma come ragazzi? Ma che cavolo? Kami, vedo Kami! Merda, c'è Kami allora! Ma c'è Kami? Oh no? Non l'ho mai messo. Vedo Tundra Senti volare. Tundra 7.8. Focus Redon. Ma perché non stanno indicando? A lui lo indicano, gli piace che lo indicano alla fine. Alla fine. Perché cazzo, Setti ci si vede poche volte in mid game, impossibile, quasi impossibile in early game e quasi sempre, ma di buca vedo ragazzi, e quasi sempre in end game. Un po' di early game. Poi pure le early game, perché le early game sono la parte più importante, tipo. Neno. Cosa ci regala Neno? A Mega City. Missato. Bene. Vino Veno, come cazzo si fa? Veno. Vino Veno. Eccolo! Signori, sempre con assalto, tutti sono assalto. L'assalto è il meta. Merda, sono stati killati. Merda, sono stati devastati. Quanti sono? Si vede? È l'ultima safe. Chulex è stato killato. Tyson, secondo me la vince Tyson. 6 persone. 6 persone, 3 team. Addio. 2 team. 2v1, ma pushateli in 2. Perché cazzo? Vabbè. Niente. Signori, Setti ragazzi, ci è andato malissimo. Setti è andato malissimo. Merda, stanno facendo il box, right? Raga, ma vogliono assomigliare i pro player. Ma tutti vogliono assomigliare i pro player qua. Tutti vogliono essere pro player. No ragazzi. È da higher. Beh, me ne ho già sciolto. No, sono tutti posti pieni. All'interno della mappa del Fenici S, Mauro. Cosa? Ah, c'è il mio cagnolino slash struzzo. Cagnolino, volete sentire il mio cagnolino struzzo? Beh, 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 beh. Struzzo? Dov'è lo struzzo? Aspetta. Ma non è lo struzzo. Vabbè, lasciamo stare. Horror played. Una tua voglio. Oh yeah. No problem. Oh yeah. Non ragazzi. Ah yeah. Merda. Già? No, pronti. No, che si vede? Io sì, perché voglio vedere. Allora, faccio vedere.
Very early on in that endgame, VERO just did what VERO does, and all season he's been doing that. Of course, Queasy's been following his own way too, but in this instance, it's all about VERO. Let's talk about solo. VERO really capitalized on the situation he was put into as his dual partner went down. We saw when Taste and Mersash were up above. It was VERO who was second highest there, popping off, getting Elam after Elam.
Cavolo bene.
Banyak here right after his dual partner went
Assurdo.
down, but he stayed up for as long as he could. Yeah, it was that elimination, it was that refresh took out Banyak right there. Of course, Banyak did take out Queasy. This little refresh here too just gave him enough match to stay afloat.
Mini tundra. Grandi tundra. Voglio riparare una bene tundra, basta. Voglio giocare con setti. Duo, ever. Addio Kami. Stai per essere dimenticato. Vai. Oh, let's go. Vatti dalle palle. Smash, signori. Signori, easy kill. Orange one player. Perché sempre sta su quello di qua? Ragazzi, sono troppo scarsi, dai. Let's go. Andiamo alle mappe che ci consigliano. L'Epic Games. No ragazzi, non perché non voglio guardare FNCS, per tutto il rispetto per FNCS. Voglio vedere però. Devo esplorarla. Tacco. Cos'è l'attacco? Dove li vendo i tacco? Slurp. Fuori slurp. Voglio slurp. Oh. Che bello. Che abbiamo? First floor. C'è un cavolo di ascensore lì. Vabbè ragazzi, c'è la Peace Control e i name Xerem. Ovviamente ci vendono le più belle. 1v1 Mythic Fight, Castle Wars, Edit Wars, Boxing FFA. No Fear. No Fear Gaming. Che commento ragazzi. La Peace Control ed aim. La Peace Control ed aim. La mira si deve migliorare per competere, va sicuro. Poi ritorniamo alle Land della leggenda e ci guardiamo il secondo game. No. Mamma mia quanti XP prepotenti nella sala di XP. Cioè miro bene. Cioè miro meglio da mostra stasera che qua però. Devo fare notare questo. Catalyst FN. Ma poi qui io la cavo e poi abbandonato. E poi è tutto preparato già. And then after the improved during chapter 4. Edit and aim. La nostra mappa, non ci credo. Yeah. Ho provato a una mappa di Epic. Pom 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 pom. Back. Walls. Oh, Mauro. Aspetta. Quindi possiamo prendere questo più una mitraglietta, dai, per essere controtenente alla fine. Ok, signori. Ok. Esercizio abbiamo M2.
right. So sometimes it's better to make the wrong decision confidently with conviction than it is to make the right decision and you're not too sure about it and you're having second thoughts, right? These guys, like you said, when they do something, they just commit to it. They do it, no doubts, no questioning.
Allora,
Sometimes that just works out.
ma finalmente c'è qualcuno di con la mitraglietta.
This duel, you're describing it, has trust.
Refsguard leads, Hellfire follows, and Refsguard himself has commented on how he's not the most confident IGL, right? He's still trying to develop that area of his game. He wants to improve in that regard. And we'll see whether or not the hard work will pay off at the end of these 12 games, right? This is the best place to see it.
And that first game was looking so well. They were doing needle-threaded kinetic blade rotations on low ground in the 10th zone. Right beside SONO and Musho, I believe, were the ones who took them out towards the end. They keep moving. All the way in.
Mi immaginate che c'è tipo Bibbo Ayer Baffo? Non si erano qualificati. Ancora Game 2 sono bloccati. Certo che i game durano 3 ore però, 12 game, qua rinviamo a mezzanotte. Mezzanotte a guardare tutti i game. Non sono mai stato 10 minuti, 20 minuti a guardare la partita proprio. Quiz. Eccolo il nostro quiz, il nostro Kiri secondo me non si qualifica perché cavolo 4 punti alle qualificazioni quanti sono?
Game 1 they went down to Jalen and Swide. This time round they survived, but unfortunately for them it's not going to be a game worth counting for. And Alexi Dial's actually making his own, and to be fair, this is a home zone for them, right? You expect them to do well in this kind of a game. But down on serves is going to mean that they have to start making things turn around for them quickly. They need to find these players on the point.
I'm wondering exactly what they were doing because not only are they down on surge, but in home zone, they're down on bats. Something that you shouldn't have to worry about with those pulling next to you. So this is dire straits for Analyst Diox. That finds something. And already 4 teams flying. Let's see what shot landed.
Not really ever going to find these guys.
Sempre con sto gobbo.
Opportunities and plays, and you see Diox looking down below, spotting an opportunity. Just about whether or not they commit to it.
And not found once again. The bittersweet part of this type of land, the field, is that they're very flat to actually go all in here, and this is exactly what they need to do. Find the knot, get the full E-Lib, and another player on the right side might be his dual partner. That's Howley going down. Analytics trying to find him, but through the chaos, can't really see much.
Tends to get taken out as well. That's the duo down. I don't think they actually picked that one up. It seems like it was someone from a distance. Still probably they can get the loot safely. There's an added bonus, so maybe the materials will be looking stronger now.
Oh, this is huge for Queasy and Vito specifically.
E la facecam si vede qua? Guarda la facecam di Erozumi.
And it's not that tough when the entire zone just bounces back towards where you are. And then the first duel there inside a wooden box, I mean, that's just leftover put in the microwave. You're gonna get heated up, you're gonna get...
Da 2 di Erozumi però c'ha il potere, Bisogna vedere però le capacità, ragazzi. Da questi ci sarà... Ah, Buga, sì, Buga c'è. Saramente che è in west, na est. Io vi lascio guardare, senza interruzioni. Sapete come? Prendiamo questo, aspettate.
And that's what the pulse rifles get you.
I'm talking about, stay up high, look for the people flying in, or even just get in the box.
Allora, alcune volte vedete questo qua che passa. E vediamo.
Much more complicated than that. And from there, these guys can again look to start topping out, right? 9th zone is here, so it's the first move in zone. And these guys have the kinetic blades to be able to save some materials. And do this, exactly this.
Oh my God!
To pick up players, right? Hold on, stagger your rotation, and find those players who are looking to rotate in, get even more match before they move in themselves, back up onto the higher layers, and they'll look to repeat the process again.
Oh, Iris moving the catch all the way up top too. He's looking like he has a pep in his step now. Knows exactly where to go. Queasy Vino though, they've been hoarding so many mats. They've had to move about 2 boxes in 3 zones. Now they have so much to work with. Their potential can be so sky high. Della and Pixie though, top 5 in 1 major is not enough. They want to win a game in the second.
Yeah, but this next zone pool will be critical, right? Because we saw Queasy and Vino down beneath them. We see a couple other teams who might look to try to take height, but these guys will be ready for it. We know they like to fight. Cammy and Seti, they're not looking up at height right now. No. They're focused on claiming space down low, and there are players on this layer, but they're the ones ahead right now.
They're trying to get swampy with it, mixing and blocks up interruptions from box to box, but now they have to go. They found the refresh in the match that they need. Are they still on par to stay all the way up front and on zone? Cammy said
kill per Cammy mi sa. Gao grandi. Comunque raga, così dovreste vedere bene. Se qualcuno passa non so loro, sicuramente non li pedigniamo. Trulex, madonna mia, quanti sono? 15. La prima volta in cui Tundra come si chiama? C'è Malibuca. In cui Tundra Setti e l'altro non mi ricordo il compagno, Kami, Tundra e Kami, se Tundra e Kami, Setti e Kami fanno una bella top.
We're looking to be a passive voice in that first game. This time want to scream out loud that we're here to stay. Is their boss strong enough as we watch Dirty in this clutch? Looking on all sides, he has no more floors to step on. Let it on down, and all the shots hitting so hard. Somehow he's found a way to be invisible inside the zone. What a big absolute alley-oop to the backside, and then he drops down again from where he just came from. Another shot on a scene that no one can see him.
I don't know how he's still alive. Can he get that loot? I don't really think so. He's searching for it in the back of the zone now. It's going to be really tough. You've got to think somebody's going to stop him soon. There's players right there looking at him, but he plays up right at the perfect time.
Right underneath Vino, so he can't actually get struck down. He's still allowed to be alive. Finally finds a few mats, but Zangi stops him. A bounce back for Vino and Queasy is huge. They have metal that's already locked down, and they're looking to shoot even more.
And this is the time, and Vino's going to have to start dropping low, trying to take fights with all these players, right? You see him hunting with that shotgun in hand.
First target might be Reason. Looking from box to box. No one on this layer just yet. Vino, the hunter. What can he find? Vixen and Blotch up prey. Weak all the way down below. And many teams will start to fall to this layer, so they have to bolster up fast. This is the last time you can actually just even look for loot. Janice and Reason start to go to ultimate low. Mixon on the backside of the wall, but so many edits, so much chaos, and in a blink of an eye, he's down. Somehow Reason has sunglasses on. It doesn't flash him at all. He actually falls too. Vino now is finding and putting down pressure on every single duo and just studying the needle so well from build to build, working in and out of the zone. Every angle just end the game. Queasy Vino here to play.
It's grand finals, but right now they are making it look so easy. I don't think Vino will have an easier game than that. Right after drop down and cause havoc, wins the game. Didn't even have to do much. Everybody was doing the dirty work for him. Nobody had mats towards the end there on low ground, and so everybody just taking each other out. Vino can swoop in, Queasy up above laughing. An easy game for the boys.
That game was a guaranteed stress-free. If I could put a sticker on them as a product, 0-0 worry in that one. Mid-game zone's perfect. The way to play the end game perfect. If you had to make a package and stage a game, it'd be this one with Queasy and Vino because they did everything right.
Textbook of what they've been doing all season long, right? We know these guys will play for height when given the opportunity, and they timed it perfectly. Pixie and Della, we know these guys are a top height team, but they were no match. They weren't ready. Queasy and Vino strolled through, and they made it happen.
The scariest thing, a good game for them is a win, a bad one, a top 4. Who can contest them? I mean, only the guys at them, they'll know what to do.
They always know what to do, and I think we can all just stand here in awe. Vino with 3 eliminations, victory royale. I mean, he was on the prowl, as Shio said. You know, he was hunting and he got the job done. Takata, a great game too from these two.
Abbiamo una novità incredibile, ragazzi. Queasy hanno vinto, è vero. Ragazzi, Auridok è tornato. Culi mandate al culo parecchie. Poi io ho detto, questo è il mio cane. Beh, vabbè, comunque. Normalissimo. Devo dire che è normalissimo. Dai. Parecchio normale. Parecchissimo normale.
Was ready to take action and get those eliminations to hunt, like Shio was saying, but he hunted so well that they didn't even have to play the heal off.
Yeah, the high ground.
Poi ragazzi, immaginate MAINOK da MK vs Auredoc. Da MK vs vs bene, tipo cose assurde.
Yeah, we can see as well, your average placement after 2 games, I think 2.5. I mean, it's looking, we've said this, it's looking good, and I think moving into the next kind of phase of the competition here now, we're going to have to see if they can be consistent. I think they can be. I think it's very likely it's Queasy and Vino. But let's take a look at the rest of the leaderboard as well and see exactly how the land lies, I guess, after 2 games, and see kind of who's on top right now, because there's lots of big duos to get excited about here. I know Cami and Seti as well, we must talk about in a second, but here's the standings for you guys. You can see here on the screen, 146 points to 145 in second place, so Queasy and Vino really shooting up their mini and putting themselves in contention, but that top team, 16 eliminations. What am I seeing here?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, Queasy and Veno, we can't talk about them enough. Even throughout the qualifiers, they were doing such a great job. They only had 1 game without that without a point. They only had 1 game out of 18 games of finals that they didn't get a point. So you talk about consistency. Let's see if they can continue that. Another team, of course, Janice doing such a great job in that end.
Oh yeah, Janice and Reason up to 5th place spot, jumping up 4 placements on the leaderboard, 126 points. I mean, we saw them in the late game there. They were doing it very well.
Yeah, 12 eliminations as well. I mean, 16, fantastic, but 12 still equally as amazing, Mini.
Yeah, solid, and they're contested off spawn, or at least a lot of people would have thought so. So they've managed that off spawn situation very well. A lot of people would have thought maybe this would hinder them going into these games, but it's almost given them a little bit of a buff. They've got their storm surge done early. They're able to frag out in the mid game, and again, that was another perfect zone for them. I think they land just to the northeast of this area, so they're basically playing in their back garden.
Right, I mean, it might hinder them in the long run, right? There's 12 matches to be played out, so as of now, they've gotten a good early game, a good mid game, and it's set them up for the late game, but hopefully they can maintain that going forward.
Remember what happened last season, though? Janice and Reason, 1st place after day 1. So if they can continue that, could it happen? Queasy and Veno, no, I think not. They were 1st place. They were doing great. Couldn't quite hold on to it, but we'll see if Queasy and Veno can qualify.
Things do have a tendency to change here all the time. We see 12 games, very different to 6 games traditionally, but, you know, I guess already teams needing, we saw it in the first game there as well, like Veno and Queasy, kind of, rather than engaging early on, I think it was Vidil versus Veno, they was taking a step back, they took a step back and more passive perhaps, knowing that it's all about the long game here. You need to get into contention in that end game to get those placement points, because they are so, we talked about eliminations, but they're so pivotal as well to Carter.
Yeah, I mean, also the difference, I mean, it's neck to neck right now. The difference between 3rd and 1st place, they all separate 1 point. 144 for 3rd place, 145 for 2nd place, 146 for 1st place. I mean, right now, it is very close.
It's the eliminations that are already setting them apart, especially with Blackstone Mixon, of course, up on the top with 16 eliminations, doing a great job there. Queasy Veno, only 8 eliminations. You look at the leaderboard and you think, actually, that's a little bit lower than the people that are surrounding them. But we know how good this duo can be when they get on that high ground. One thing getting it, but another thing closing out and doing such a great job of it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that Cami and Seti as well there. I mean, again, managing to give us something to get excited about, because they're still managing to hold in there, despite not working out in the first couple of games, getting to the last 2 or 3. They still have every opportunity. They've done it on the big stage many times before. It's definitely doable again, surely.
Hopefully, but again, they had the same problem. They made it to endgame, didn't quite have the materials to see it out, though.
Yeah, but if we talk about another duo, Jordy and Boaz, I mean, they did a pretty good job there, but it's all about keeping it up, right? It's still the start of day 1. The players are getting kind of warmed up, getting ready, but it is grand final, so you would hope that they've been ready from the start.
Solid game number 1, of course, from Jordy and company, and of course, another game to match yet again, getting some eliminations in that mid game. We talked about their fragging potential in the late game, in the first game, and again, we're seeing it yet again, getting refreshes, getting eliminations. We see it backside his own. Jordy just staying back. He didn't have the materials to go to that front side, and we even saw it going all the way up because he had no other options, no materials, no plan B. It was just try and go for high.
Look, he clutched it out, though. He stayed up as long as he possibly could, but just when he gets a little surprise, a little present of loot, he gets taken out. But, I mean, the placements he acquired alongside those elims, it's more than enough to keep them in the game.
Yeah, the traversal is such an important part of this as well. I mean, you can see, you hear like it's a katana frenzy towards the end there as well. You can hear those sound effects going wild. I mean, it's so important to know how to rotate well together as a team as well, not just you, but individually, but together, and having that kind of synergy we saw tasted in Mustache. It seems like it's a real big trait that all big teams have to have as well here. Talking of traits, let's have a look at some of the stats as well from some of our teams you can see on screen here, and we can already see some players start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack and starting to real highlight themselves here in contention for big accolades in this competition.
VENO, damage ratio. The amount of damage he's dealt versus the amount he's taken. He doesn't take damage, yet he deals it at a ratio of 3.17. That is unbelievable. And he seems to do it every single event, every single grand final. This guy is dealing the damage, but he's got even better at not taking some as well.
The hunter that doesn't get hunted, it seems. I mean, he gets the eliminations, but he's not losing a lot of the HP. Also, Irazumi, distance traveled over 10K. I mean, it shows that also these zones impact a lot on what your rotations are going to look like going into the late game and how much distance you have to travel just to make it to those last zones. So depending on your drop spot, it could be a bit more difficult. But Irazumi, I mean, they've been holding on.
Yeah, Minnie, who do you think next game? Who do you think we're going to start to have to see? We're going to start to kind of develop here in the game 3. Who do you think is going to really rise to the top now? Who are you hoping you're going to see pop off this next game?
Let's hope that Cammy and Seti can fix their issues and get a victory up.
Okay, you heard it right there. Cammy and Seti, will they manage to do that or not? We'll find out very, very soon. Guys, we are ready and waiting to rock and roll. Shy 11 back in position as we dive into game number 3.
It is business as usual in EU now in the grand final. Squeezy and Vino have taken the stage with the Game 2 VR.
Yes, you do, right? This is exactly what they've been doing all season long. Tied for the most victory hours of any team throughout the qualifying weeks. I think this is a team who expected to win a game at some point. Will they continue to do it throughout today is the question.
If that's the case, this is trouble and danger for every other team on EU. If we're looking to win the actual FNCS, I feel like we found the team that's going to do it.
Hey, let's not speak too soon. We have game number 3 here on the way. And I think many people obviously have those guys predicted to win first place. And they've definitely started off incredibly well. But when the whole world expects you to win, that kind of pressure can get to you sometimes. And we know Vino has struggled with the pressure at times, right? He doesn't want that pressure. He said it very clearly multiple times. He'd rather people didn't expect him to do so well. Shulex and Chicha, though. What's going on there? Southside slap heat.
We gotta land on a tree and farm it up. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for the start of your game? We'll have the match to see what's up, but round 3 for a fight that's been so close, back to back. This time, I guess for the first time, we're seeing Tamanashi and Malabuka actually on the power side of this one. Letting 2 fly by, actually Malabuka, 1 good shot, easy finish on the backside 2, dropping down for the match now, 2v1.
Malabuka and Thomas finally finding some control in this off-spawn battle, and that's exactly what they needed. The other players just ran off though, so they're gonna have to try and find him. I don't know if they will though, they might just have to give it up completely.
That's one way, maybe. That's a strat. You sacrifice one teammate, that way you can both make it off spawn, it's a guaranteed disengage. Huh?
Assuming they don't camp the card. You know, if I'm them, I'm just camping the card like, until he comes back. Like, he's not getting the reboot under any circumstances at all. If I'm them, though.
if you're them. But you're not them.
Yeah,
but if Lucian Steno, this has to be tough. I think this is expectation hindering a few of the next games coming through. You have such a strong game 1. You're feeling confident. You go for a few fights in game 2 overall. You start to get a little bit lackluster in performance. It's not the same passiveness, the objective-based movement on the map. And now they're kind of at a road stop on what to do next. Luce and Steno have to win these fights. Huge shot from Luce. I'm acting like they're not prepared, but this man knows exactly what to do. Fire Bro, Artist, I mean, the tough part about this POI, you just don't have that many weapons and utility to come by for the final fight that starts. You're just relying more so on your position and who hits that first shot. For this one, it's Luce. They're so dark inside too, so easy to hide in corners and go for a few surprise shots. Mini's found for the duo. They'll keep fighting as there's poor Futrick just running away.
Try to hide. Fair play to him for getting out, right? It's very rare you see a team get out.
When Tooth and Futrick make it off spawn from that racetrack, it's very different for the rest of the lobby compared to Thomas and Malabuka. What a shot from Luce once again. I'm not worried about this duo wrapping up this fight. Easy trades. Nice wrap up too. If Thomas and Malbuka now on the field, things are gonna look so different.
Hold on.
The rest of the server, good trick with a comeback. I'm saying it might not have any effects.
Oh, man.
What a steal.
Look at this guy. Just waltzes in after admittedly losing the fight off spawn at the racetrack and is just giving other people problems off spawn now. These guys are off spawn menaces.
Turning a 0-point game into at least 4 there. Gonna be huge, and he might be able to even get 2 back. Who knows? Snazy Podesai. Trouble in Paradise this time. It's not gonna be an easy claim to the Citadel.
And that stat at the top just speaks to the dominance of Suzu and Shimoki, right? No team was able to pick up their limbs on them and fight them like that before 7th zone this season until Snazy and Podesai showed up.
Watch is moving fast too. Gentlemen at an all-time high. I mean, they're seeing end games. They're doing really well off spawn. They're on the same page when it comes to a lot of these fights. 154-point mark. It's going to be a good day for this duo. Mixon's to thank for that. A lot to play as in that last game, or a lot to thank for in that last game as a solo. Did really well, but Deal's the one who picks up Futrick at the end of the day. So that solo run ends.
That's nice for Savage and Vidal. Some free search, right? Not too shabby. A couple extra points for the boys. Swizzy, Shimoki, though, here at Citadel. Finally, we may get a chance to actually watch these guys play out again.
I feel like splitting Citadel is worse than going down off spawn.
You know what?
Heinous take.
I'm not even mad at it, bro. I'm not even mad. Because this game is not going to be the kind of game we've seen them have this season, right? Part of their dominance has been they've had that whole area. They have full control over that side of the map when they land it, though. They're not going to be able to have that kind of control here in this game.
Well, Tensei and Howley are familiar with that term, lack of control. Being hunted down over and over again. They don't get to move how they want to, go where they want to.
I think they'll take that over, you know, being taken down by Gabix and Shmeki, right? It's, again, another instance where, like, would you rather just lose your fight off spawn or at least play out the game in some sort of, you know, shambles, loot run path type of game? In most cases where there's so much on the line, I think most players would just play a scuffed game than no game at all.
Absolutely. And if that stops working, then maybe it's just time to contest Kenjutsu, you know? Go for the big
Yeah. Let's not give anyone any ideas now.
If they want a 50-50 me, I mean, why 50-50 Citadel if you want to?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because there are some teams on the map that I think, you know, are definitely at risk of being contested. Definitely some teams in that category. I don't think Pixie and Della are one of those teams, for what it's worth, right? We obviously saw what they did last season at Breakwater Bay against Axos and Vortexes. But there are some teams. I'm not going to say who. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to make any enemies. You know, I like to be friends with everybody. But definitely some teams who come tomorrow, they need to watch over their shoulders when they're gliding in.
If you speak, you're in trouble.
And speak, I'm in big trouble. I don't want to be in trouble.
Outside Slovate. I'll say officially round 2 for them, even though it's game 3 and fighting side by side against another duo. Can't be steady. Mini saying that he wants to see these guys win a game. I mean, although their prowess is high, and we were also kind of dispelling a lot of the notions that this might be a tough FNCS for them. The way they're playing, the kind of, you know, ebb and flow of staying low a little bit and having that as your home ground in some of these end games, it seems tough, man. There's so much chaos that happens in the 8th, 9th, 10th zone. You might not have as much control as you did in previous FNCS seasons. Setting Ken might have to have like a different game plan come end game at least to translate some of these games into points.
Yeah, I think the big thing for them, right, that we've seen in these past couple games is that they are getting to the point where they have to drop down low, like too soon.
Yeah.
Right, you only really want to be dropping to play low ground when you're starting to run out of mats and you can't tarp out mid-ground layers anymore. These guys are getting to that point a bit too soon, right? They need to sort of, you know, try and be a bit more efficient in the way, and if not being more efficient, find more refreshes, right? We saw last game they were down on search. This isn't what we want to see from those guys. So they definitely have to make a couple adjustments as these games move on.
See exactly what adjustments look like for the rest of the map. Taco, what's going on in the FACS?
Difficult parts about a grand finals lobby is that the caliber of player is that much higher in terms of the standards being set for Storm Surge damage thresholds. We've seen so many duos today already kind of struggling with making sure that they stay on top of it, but for Ski and Vacant Season, they're making sure that they're looking plenty healthy north of Brutal Bastion, making sure to just secure all of those Storm Surge tags early on with this natural height position and plenty of kills for tagging it up.
And there's something to bang on about, right? These players will prepare their strategies, make plans, but ultimately you don't even know if it works until you get into the lobby, right? Because you can't practice for this lobby in terms of Storm Surge. Like, you cannot practice for it. There's no lobby that will be like this that you play throughout the season. The stakes being so high and just, you know, how that grand finals affects mentality of players. So, yeah, it's why the first day is so important. You have to learn from it and come through tomorrow, you know, with big adjustments being made.
Yeah, even these 6 games of practice do not prepare for tomorrow. It's almost a completely different lobby, right? It's so tough. I feel bad too for all the skis approach from the north side. A lot of the times I feel like people choose invasions in the north because you have a little bit of your own space. You know, to fight lonely labs. Suddenly there's a team towering at Bastion, shooting at everyone. That wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah, and that area of the map is so flat and open, right? Like, it's, you know, you can't really sort of like get out of harm's way. A lot of the time they're gonna just have to commit the series to protect yourself.
Just also dip into that land sometimes to see what they can find. A lot of people are just used to being by themselves by the roadside.
Eccolo qua. Scusate ragazzi, ma devo fare una cavolata, tipo, no? Una cavolatella. Tundra.
What that looks like, that means actually starting the fight, putting the pressure down first yourself. Last time we saw these guys have been chased. This time it's them bringing the power to Queasy and Vino, who don't let them get away for free.
Yeah, what a surprise. Vino and Queasy here on that side.
Meet Veno in Tundra. Ma non si può fare provino? House of Tundra. House. Wolfitz nei Tundra? Ma chi lo sapeva? Oh. Ornix Edition. In my heart. No.
I'll be watching.
Ma perché fa da solo? Da solo.
On game 2, same thing. High tower. Game 3, decided to do something else. Maybe it didn't work out for them too well.
Look what we have here. Queasy and Vino tried to move closer and closer into Slappy. Maybe they were looking for a refarm opportunity. They found themselves in a world of trouble. Vino's been taken down. It's Hydro who was able to pick him up. And I'm doing Kashoki now. Are we just going to cause issues for Queasy? Already derailing the game. Now forcing him back out of the zone, back over towards his own loop here at this cache.
He's wishing that Cash could spawn a reboot then, or something. Gonna be tough for him overall. Thomas.
No.
Claiming the floating island. This is gonna be huge. Talk about making the most of the game you're allowed to play.
Today's video, we're gonna fit Vino, Zeddy, Bing, and 4 pros through a life vector judgment.
Fix. In the room.
This time around, they get to free. We know they can cause havoc with it. We know that they can be absolutely manic in endgames, just taking out players. We've seen other teams do it, and these are two of the best teams in the lobby. And so definitely potential for them to have a massive game. Maybe we can't get too ahead of ourselves. Something high. This Joker really causing issues about Southside Slappy.
What do you even do against that? Hydro's surfing on Pastoki's head, dropping into the box. That's like, you know, when you kind of sneak in the movie theater in the old movies, they have someone in a trench coat, one on top of each other. That's going into your box.
Would you still be friends with Venom if he killed your invitational?
And Chicky, the one to actually have control of Sloppy right now.
Perché tutti ce l'hanno con insetti, dai.
And Blotcher control of the whole lobby as they're 10 points ahead in first place, at least to start this game. So we'll see what they can do. 6-point lead, 5-point lead. They can't be mastering at all. What's going on? Save it for day 2. That's what's important. A little trouble in rotation paradise. This is tough because not only are they stopped here, getting in, one team in front of them, they're going to have to fight if they white line it. And on the right and left, basically on all sides, there's a 3-pronged trident.
So flat. There's no reason to just fight behind and get into zone. Unless you go all the way south and drop down out of this glacier area, it's just not going to happen.
This might be a difference in what we're expecting in this game. Shimoki, Swizzy alive, following them on this rotation. Causing this traffic jam. We know they love the shadow duels and strike when things are looking the absolute most bleak. Thing is, no one in this entire box has any kinetic blades. Obviously, ODM gear's not in the business. So what happens when this is done? How do you get out? Well, one way to go to the lobby. That's the one Mixes would be forced to take. That's first place eliminated for this game. Now, some will have to move, so some of the teams that are holding will also have to get out of dodge. Malabuka, Thomas, pulse rifles in tow for this duo. I mean,
like in theory,
yeah.
Final. Ora.
Kinetic blades and infinite hills, like way above on Surge. Why shouldn't they just win it? Like why? Like why? Why
game end?
You know what I mean? But like what? Like in theory, if you're looking at it right from that point of view, like why shouldn't they win the game? It'd have to come down to them making a mistake, them having some sort of poor play.
Okay, so say that they do, and say this pattern repeats.
Alright.
Say they have 2 bad games until one godlike game where they get everything. Is 4 games enough for a top 5?
Yes.
Over 2 days.
No, Rekins. Capexer.
No, I mean like 2 of these days are 4 in total.
6. Playing Fortnite.
Are they about to like, you know, drop 20 bombs or something? Like, what's actually happening?
I mean, what's actually happening is more opponents in the fray. Vino is back.
Rebooted.
Will it cost Squeezy his life is the question, because he had to stretch for this one. We know there's a catch, and there's a lot of it.
They're heading back to the hills, right? And that's the silver lining for them. If you're in the zone, in the case of Dre and Pachara right now,
I mean, you're not going to be in there for longer. Once again, most unfortunate, it seems like, type of elimination onto Pachara.
No.
I'm writing him the unluckiest man on EU. Thomas is seeing Malabuka with pulse rifles on your box.
hey, you gotta make your own luck in this. You gotta make your own luck.
Oh yeah.
You keep finding Pachara in situations where it's saying he's unlucky. I don't think it's unlucky.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because this is unfortunate. Flipsy though. I mean, okay, you're making your own luck. Reason down. One of the causes of why they had a little bit of a rough last game. But they're now in the business.
Rotation will have to be made here, right? In terms of how they move. Kinetic blades in hand, and they're probably going to start going towards our left side to see.
Oh yeah.
Opting to do what the rest of the lobby isn't doing. Everybody's going towards the left to try almost white line their way into zone. These guys pushing and moving towards that right side.
That's crazy. If they actually are able to get it off, they technically shouldn't be, because not only do
Dai
they
cazzo, io.
they have a different vehicle this game.
GRX.
Every variant of kinetic blade, that's how they're able to take height. That's how they basically won game 1. They're stuck on rare now. They're stuck on just 2 charges instead of 3.
GX.
Yeah, and that one charge makes the difference. Completely makes the difference. It's such a massive factor. Wow! Big refresh onto Juriki, a player they were fighting early in the game. He'll get his mythic shotgun as well.
Malabuka fan.
But you see it, right? They went against the grain of the lobby, and it paid off for them. They pick up a nice little elimination. Let's see how exactly they did it, falling right into his face and cleaning things out.
You saw his match there too. 100 win. That's all Vino really had left.
Jigsaw. Jigsaw.
So that's gonna be
Jigsaw.
Just luckily enough, Zone's gonna pop a little bit more towards that south side. Queasy and Vino at least given room to breathe. Trulix and Chicky, we can see exactly what the benefit of being up top on Slappy looks like. How much damage you can put down. About 300.
Si sono di giorni fa, madonna mia. Io mi va a casa, dai. Ma date, no, lo tocco, non mi vada solo. Poi ragazzi, devo fare una roba e si alza di sale, scusatemi. Bu 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 bu. Senti?
I like this from Talos and Malabuka, just staying low key, keeping the surprise of the pulse rifles an absolute mystery. What they're probably going to want to do is just let this zone lock in and then maybe look for a different chance at a higher box. Don't want anyone interrupting that whatsoever. Minak and Carmi are the ones who kind of take the lead after Bronte looks to go down in this game.
Honk honk.
Guys and also looking to cause a little bit of havoc. Some fire on the snow. Let the low ground melt, and that every single box perish basically in front of them. 226 looking for a little bit more damage. Jay and Cause are not going to be able to see this one. It's Shimoki actually. So we were wondering how are these guys going to get out of the storm. They both have kinetic blades now, and they're looking mighty fine. Della going down. Queasy picks that up. Another big refresh, and that's Queasy onto Della. That looks like height might be free for them again.
We'll see if they have what they need to be able to play for it, though. Even if they don't, we know how strong they are, especially this season, making improvements to their mid and low ground game. They're comfortable playing on all layers now. We're dealing with Mr. Savage, though. A game where we finally get to see them in the end game. Unfortunately, not a game where it seems that they'll be able to do much. They're down on Surge. And I don't want to keep banging on about it, but this is what I was worried about. Will they have Surge figured out in the grand finals? And so far, it doesn't seem like it.
That just must be so sad. I mean, the best part about this is that maybe Vidil gets to play with both inventories at least. No! The blunder from Vidil. We'll tune in still, Boaz Dirty, same situation. A lot of the boxes that were around Thomas HD, Malabuka, are suffering in terms of surge. It was so quiet on that side. And they have to both move. And this is, once again, it just looks like such a good spot to be in, but they can't really reap the benefits of this situation. They need to find a fight.
Quickly, right? We know how restrictive it can be to play. That one splash is nice, but it doesn't move the needle. Where are they going to land? Down below, he tries to group up with his teammate, and they have to start getting creative. They know a team's right beneath them there, and yeah, they'll look for it. Three of their players going to come out. But aren't able to get anything more out of it.
This is just stress for the whole lobby over and over again. They're just getting pulled up into higher elevated grounds. There are no bounce backs. Everyone's mats being tested. Boaz and Dirty do have a lot, and there is a team that can guarantee fight. They're looking to just skip it over entirely. Elect for the beam instead. And nope, being that exposed for Boaz. I mean, so many mats to use. He's going to go down. That's huge for Trulex. Pixie also left alone as Della went down moments before. It's Vacan and Ski, who we saw beforehand. Taco was in this a breakdown. Started up towards the ice. Started on the Bastion. Had control. Had a huge There's a virus in the sky. That's claim on everything.
And it's another game where we're seeing a team with a home zone doing incredibly well. They had the plan. The setup was there. And now they're trying to capitalize on it.
Going to drink more than what can fill in their cup, though. I mean, they've had a very good game so far. A few more teams go down. Now they look good on Surge. They were looking bad moments before. This is an insane comeback story, though, in terms of just this game. Queasy, Vino, back in action. Match looking good. Cammy, Seti, in terms of Brutal Bastion, know exactly how to navigate as well. especially if zones keep pulling in. Traffic jam, Trap played up, but Seti doesn't even get scathed at all.
That could have went really badly with that player hiding in the corner. They didn't realize, but it doesn't punish them. They can keep moving.
Looking more dangerous now because he's going to low ground immediately. So just waiting to pull that trigger a little bit later. That's exactly the adjustment they needed to make. Karmi Vanyak, though, might be the leaders of the lobby, but they're in trouble.
Yeah, down on Surge, but what position to be in where you're down on Surge, you can pop some spare slurps and start to make your move. That gives them the freedom to keep making their rotation in.
I love this blade stall all the way under height, so you're not really focused. Get second height for free indeed. Thomas HD with a pulse rifle.
Oh, man.
If you're here for classic EU-type plays, get your seatbelt strapped in, because now he has high ground too.
And this is why we said the pulse rifles in their hands are so powerful. They will just melt high ground and take it for themselves. Queasy and Vino still alive in this one, all the way down below though. Box to box, in each other's faces and picking up limbs along the way. They're gonna keep moving though. Kinetic blading now towards the front of the zone, but taken out. And Vino falls as well. Both of them going down in a flash.
Made Mess look organized, but just did not have enough time to keep seeing out the rest of the game. Taking in Trulex with a shot on the Vanyak, that's the lobby leader. And they'll be able to keep moving on this high ground layer. It's been so tough to maintain, but this duo somehow has stayed side by side.
You see, oh my goodness, Thomas Malabuga melting everybody from above. If you go up, you will fall down, and not by your own mercy, not by your own might. They will be the ones to chop you out. These guys are on a tear right now, and everybody in the lobby is feeling it.
500 damage in 2 seconds. Left click's not stopping. Trigger's not being held back. We're stashed now, left alone after one big jump. Not much else to say or do. No one can really fly sky high.
And I know this guy is capable of solo clutches, but this one's going to be difficult. The chunk splashes will give him a bit more time in zone, but the builds aren't there. He needs to start thinking about using that shotgun and putting it to good use. He has to get up over this glacier though, has the kinetic blade to do so, but once he does get into zone, you've got to start worrying about all these different players around you. Finds a clear layer for a second, but there is a player down beneath, and he misses that shot, can't afford to miss many more.
Ooh, it's a whole duo. Left behind, Mustache gets exactly what he needs to keep playing the game, but once again, he tried to go to the sky. It's owned by Thomas HD. Malabuga beside him. Those pulse rifles just pack such a punch, and no one can really have any type of breath in the air.
It's so easy for them, right? They see those players blading in a straight line, and they just have to practice and practice, and we know their aim's on point. Shakos and Skydoon down below, gonna try to do something, but we see the story, the script's been there. Thomas and Malabuga on an absolute tear.
The anti-air turret now has to go for a fight on the ground, but give Thomas a pixel, we'll give you 132 damage.
Oh,
and then another pre-fire. 1v2 doesn't need teammates. Thomas HD ends the game.
Ted, we said, you give these guys a chance to play a game, you give them pulse rifles, they're gonna have a big one. It doesn't get bigger than that. Double-digit elimination game here in Game 3.
Called by Zone 6 basically for this team, and they make it work. That's them just being allowed to play one game. That's them with the weights off their feet, moving at maximum speed. We haven't seen anything that efficient in EU. Even if you try to go for that surprise jump at perfect height, the shotgun switch is there. And Thomas is like, yeah, we can go for a few highlight reels, double drop downs, but what if I just do it myself and end the game?
Every single player in this lobby is going to be on their knees begging Tus and Putrick to win off spawn because they cannot allow these guys to keep having games like that. If they keep getting the Rift Island for free, it's going to be absolute chaos for everybody in the lobby.
There's just one weakness, and that's kind of off spawn. It's not even a weakness even. It's just unpredictability. And if that's the case, this is one of the strongest duels on the scene.
I'm very, very excited to see the shakeups in the standings. How far have they risen now after having such a top game after 2 bad ones to start the day? Let's send it to the analysts to break it down.
Woo, so much to talk about. I mean, packing a punch with the pulse rifle, that's exactly what happened. Breaking the elimination record this season as well. I mean, Thomas and Malabuga delivering the goods for us there. 13 eliminations. What an incredible victory royale, Mini. So great to witness that.
That's the power of the pulse rifle. That's the power of taking big risks. And that's exactly what this duo are all about. If you watch any of their games so far this season, when they have been contested, they have had some issues off spawn. But when they make it off spawn, when they have those pulse rifles in hand, when your name is Thomas HD,
can't miss. Like, that's the power of Thomas HD. He's just bop, 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 elim after elim after elim. Almost double-digit elims just for Thomas HD. You can see here, he does not miss a single shot with the pulse rifle in Thomas and Malabuka's hands. I mean, the whole lobby, Levin and Shia were saying it, like, they're in danger.
Yeah, they are. Thomas has eaten a good breakfast this morning. I think he's really feeling good. And so is Malabuka as well, leading the way up on high ground right there. No duo had a chance. No one even had a chance. Right here. I mean, look at that. It's just shut down completely. Absolutely incredible. And the way that Thomas closed this out was absolutely splendid.
Yeah, we can see, I mean, Thomas has had his eggs and seconds and thirds this morning. Lots of breakfast going down here. Amazing scenes there, and we can see they are such a dominant force here, dominating the skies. But let's have a look and see exactly how this affects the leaderboard here as well. We can see here Vanyek and Kami, 202 points here. But in second place, Queasy and Vino consistently managing to get points on the board. Again, Takata, I mean, we've talked about them so much. We've talked them up, but there's every reason to because they are just that good.
Look, they're doing what you need to do to take home an FNCS Grand Finals. We said it before, if I had to bank on a duo taking it home, it's going to be Queasy and Vino in the second place spot with 187 points. They are en route to doing exactly that.
But that was a bad game for them. That just shows how good they've been in the first few games because they're still on the top. That was a really poor game from them, particularly when it got to that end game. They actually run out of materials. They actually run out of steam. We saw, of course, Veno taking out Juriki early on in this game. They actually had a really nice, favorable 7th zone to actually pull towards them. But that 8th zone was really where it got a little bit difficult. They had to expend a lot of materials going into this end game. And we saw them fragging out on low ground, trying to make something happen. And ultimately, it was the storm that took them both out. It's a really difficult situation for them.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looked like Queasy, you can see there, he kind of got blocked by Vino when he used his kinetic blade, and got eliminated by the storm. So, you know, it happens, a little unfortunate, but they're still in second place, so they can't really be mad at the moment.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the first place team right now as well, with 202 points, courtesy of 18 eliminations, 130 placing points, Vanek and Kami. I mean, this duo, you know, after 3 games, in a great position right now. They're kind of atop the leaderboard. A great game 3 for them, Takata.
Yeah, I mean, they did exactly what they had to. You can see them getting tags when they need to, being positioned in the zone quicker than their opponent so they can look back, get that damage, get that storm surge, and not have to worry about it later on.
Yeah, because of course we saw Blatcher and Mixon going down earlier, our previous first place team. This has opened the floodgates wide open for Kami and Vanyak, and it's if you can take advantage of those situations is really what separates our top teams from maybe our middle ground teams, because they did it, and they did it with a plump.
Yeah, they certainly did. You can even see here, I mean, Malabuka and Thomas HD, they're currently in 10th position, up 40 places. 40 places in one game. That is how things change here in Grand Finals. It can happen in a heartbeat here. One of the great things, of course, about a Grand Final is we get a chance to chat to some brilliant people in the community as well, and someone who is a familiar face to FNCS right now. We're joined by the almighty Reddish right now. It is so good to see you, Reddish. How are you? You're watching Grand Finals. What's the experience been like for you after the first 3 games? How are you enjoying it so far? I don't know if she can hear me right now, but hopefully any second now she can.
I can
technical difficulties. We'll come to Reddish in just a second's time. What we'll do now? Oh, we are there. We are there. Okay, hey, Reddish. Hi. I'm there going, Reddish, amazing to see you. And I thought you were blanking me. I thought you were blanking me, and that was it. I was getting a bit worried there. But Reddish, it's good to see you.
I can hear you.
Great.
What's up?
Good. It's so good to see you. How's Grand Finals been for you so far?
I mean, Malabuka just won, so I'm very happy.
I love that.
I'm so happy.
Of course, you played with Malabuka a lot as well in some of the tournaments that you've played in. What's that like? Give us a little insight. What's it like to play with a Tier 1 pro like Malabuka?
It's great. I even hosted my own tournament, and I made it co-ed so that I can play with a pro player and experience that again. I think it's amazing for us as creators to play with pro players because we have a lot to learn, and we get to discover a different side of them, I would say, like their personality, and I don't know, it's amazing to feel like you can keep up with them too.
You love those collaborations, and you said there's a lot you learned. So I actually want to know, what's something that maybe you've learned from Malabuka or generally just from watching FNCS?
One very important thing I learned from Malabuka is that you can actually jinx your team. Like, that's very real. Like, we were super hyped. Malabuka just 1v2 someone off spawn who surprise contested us, and I was so hyped and super cheerful. We also got a cash right next to us, and then things went downhill. Like, we got Acorn 1v2ing us just because we kept going on and on about that. And we were super hyped, and he explained that jinxing is real, and you have to be happy like 1-2 seconds in the moment, but then focus up. So that's one thing I'll always remember.
You heard it right there, folks. The jinx is indeed real. We're so hyped to have you here. Where can we find you online on social media?
My name is Reddish, so Reddish everywhere.
Reddish is right there. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of finals. Bye.
Thank you, and GX are on top. I hope you're gonna win.
I mean, great to talk to everybody in the community. I love that. Reddish, what a legend.
He's
great,
a legend.
Yeah, really great to see. Interesting as well. I mean, great question as well. Finding out how how the pros do the call outs, because everything happens in such a quick time, such a small moment there. You have to make those calls and make them clear and concise. Interesting to hear that from her, Mini.
Yeah, definitely. Even the jinx thing. I mean, I hope that Thomas and Malibuca wouldn't jinx themselves. Knowing Thomas, he won't be happy with 10s. They want to go for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, there you heard it right. I mean, there we go. We're rapidly going through the grand finals here right now. We're hearing news that the battle bus is ready to rock and roll. What will happen in the next game? It's time to find out. It's back over to Shio and 11-2K as we head into game number 4.
The 4th game of the day is upon us. We've already seen so much take place all across these 3 games so far, and here in this 4th one, I can't wait to see which team steps up next.
Yeah, the best part about EU today is that there is no pattern really on who just ends up winning these games back to back to back. It's more so a fresh face to see every time, more power from some of the best teams in the EU.
I think the best thing, though, is that each fresh face is one that we're familiar with, right? One that we know has the ability to come out and win multiple games, and we'll see if they can do that here again. Game number 4 is ready. Let's hop right in. The players are on the battle bus, ready to try and fight out of spawn. Will the winners of Game 3, Shio, get a chance to even play the game again is my question.
I mean, jumping 40 places from Game 2 to Game 3, Thomas and Malibuca, you can see the inconsistency of the day. It's all on this off-spawn fight. Swizzy and Shimoki as well, being able to change their fates and play that Game 3 made things so different for a lot of the teams in these endgames in terms of Surge. Podesai and Snazy also in a little bit of trouble because they didn't have their guaranteed 200 damage to play with. So everything's starting to change a lot faster in EU, this major. These are some of the fastest adjustments we've seen in, I would say, just the history of MSCS itself across all chapters. And Thomas and Malibuca landed once again one of the hottest fights to see. It changes the entirety of how the day looks like. And they don't like to be in a power position like last time. Tus and Puchik get the slip truck as well, so they have so much shield to work with. Malibuca has position, but he needs to land these shots. Another one sky high, he's focused, but with Tus and Puchik alive like this, might be over for Thomas too. This is just absolute tough scenes. Tus is lower, Thomas is up close. Wrap it up though. This will not be a game that we see the powerhouse duo strut their step once more in EU.
These guys are even getting third party themselves. Who's that? It's Bevies and Bevies. What are these guys doing? Everybody wants to get in on the fun.
They're saying, listen, if Thomas and Malibuca are allowed to play the way they like to, maybe it's about time for us to look like we're in tip-top form as well. Change landing positions, calibrating, go find team. And instantly, they're up for the charge, for the chance. Bevy's finding Tus, and Puchik, you can't get away. You will be hunted too.
This is very tough. Very tough, because you go up 40 places, you finally get a chance to play a game, and then bam, momentum locked off once more. Right now they have to sit and just wait for another half an hour almost. It's not an easy thing to do at all.
And the way Racetrack is set up, there's no way to disengage really even have a substandard game. I mean, the only people we're seeing on the map who got kind of interrupted at their spot, were contested, and then changed their fates are on your screens right now. Shimoki and Swizzy, and even then, Podesai and Snazy do not want to let them go. They want things to be just as they were in that game number 1. They want this team to go down. That's exactly what Podesai is trying to force right now. One big shot, but has to follow through with a few more. They have so many mats, so this fight should go on and actually have, I think, a decided victor.
Man, these guys are French, so if they want to take your wall, there's a good chance your wall's going to be taken. So they're just going to keep playing on the aggressive, playing on the front foot.
Oh man, Podesai, angle huge, going for the beam. Few misses will prolong this fight. We're down to no mats from Shimoki and Swizzy. About to see an all-in, and Podesai's by himself, so this might be the best chance. Snazy going back to maybe find a few mats or be in advantage position. 3 mats left for Podesai, so he has to do something here. Just 2 more left now.
Ooh.
Big shot, I like that. Another one.
I love the way he flipped the ramp there, created his own little angle, Jumps up, hits the shot as well. That's really nicely done from two, again, very experienced players in this region and showing you how it's done. Della and Pixie contested here at Breakwater Bay, and they found success contested last major. Up here right now against Aston Slove. These guys are very difficult players to fight against, and so they'll make it a very tough battle. But if anyone's going to win a battle at Breakwater Bay, you'd think it's Pixie and Della.
They're looking for angles, even when they're caught off guard. Della, with his movement, forces the shot miss from Asa, but the second one, this man does not make a mistake twice. He's looking to wrap it all up. The tracking through the box is huge. The pressure's still alive from the other side, and claimed twice! Asa is just too fast for him. Now he's gonna be playing support. Nope. Just actually waiting a bit, and he's a front man once more. Huge for Asa. Up top, denied, re-edited on. And that's Pixie with a clapback.
Hold on, wait a minute. It's not done just yet. With the way Asa was moving, I thought it'd be an easy cleanup.
Della's still alive. He can get it.
Yeah, the revive can keep coming through, so Pixie and Della might still be in this. Ove running up, but quickly running back down. What a shot from Pixie, and he might just close it out here. The Storm might finish the job. It doesn't feel like he's gonna be able to pick. Can he splash him? Picks up the splash. No! Doesn't pick up the splashes in time, but it's fine, because he'll get the reboot card and he'll be able to reboot Della. But still, to win that fight, it wasn't looking good for them. But Pixie and Della come out on top.
It's textbook pyramid edit from Pixie as well. A lot of the time, you just have that pyramid in your box, able to get it up to be a ramp almost. You block one shot, re-edit it down. Easy shot to hit. Nice bait and switch. And yeah, it might not be perfect, but that was great from Pixie overall. Janice and Reason getting their game started too on that replay. Man, what a hot start to this game. Once again, it's still different. It's not the same fights we've been watching for the first 3 games. New contestants, new decisions by players in every single POI. I mean, there's a Bevies and a Pablo Wingo loose in the middle of the map. If you find them, please call me, let me know, because we need to get them contained, or it's going to look bad for a lot of the teams on EU. The fact that Queasy and Vino even made last game last as much as it did, huge.
It just goes to show just how locked in these guys, how keyed in they are to the meta and how to play the game. Juriki and Fredoxy, a team that maybe can't necessarily say the same, right? I spoke to Juriki, he said he wasn't confident, right, coming into the finals. He himself knows he hasn't done enough preparation, hasn't been working hard enough this season, but he's hoping that the work put in over the past week will be enough to just push them over the line. And even though it's been a slow start, Shio, things are never over when you have mythic shotguns in hand, and of course they control the vote here at Mega City.
One good thing they'll have going for them, no matter what the preparation looks like, they'll have 6 games to watch back at the end of day 1 to prep for day 2. One of the most important things in between the days. We've already seen Juriki and Fredoxy have some good adjustments, at least in how they fight and how they approach Surge from game 2 to game 3. Kaizen and Vox haven't seen too much for them on the day. So they're landing closer to that Glacier Snow-esque side. The Bastion teams are making things so difficult. Refsguard and Hellfire. Levin, you were talking about the way they make decisions. Unfortunately, a wrong decision or an unfortunate zone bounce back got them eliminated in the last game. This time, they look to be strong once again. That last game, by the way, felt like it lasted 2 hours.
Right? Long one.
It's a long one.
A long one. Hellfire, though.
Oh! What?
He's just aim training right here in the grand final. Straight aim training.
That's like the biggest fear sometimes that you kind of disregard as a player too when you're kinetic blading. I won't build behind me. There's no way. Someone's gonna have to land like 4 body shots and a headshot while I fly. Who's capable of that?
Never think it happened. Never think it happened.
Could have happened to me.
Yeah, it would have happened to you. You're just that guy though, so it's a bit different. Steno and Lush not having to worry about Fiber and Artist. I believe they've taken them out. I'm guessing that's the 2 eliminations to their name. I've seen that fight a couple times. iDrop and Matt Nada right now not fighting in the Anvil Square, fighting just at the gas station outside of it.
Future Elise is making this last a long time. a lot more teams will fly by. He'll have a chance to breathe once again. I'm not sure if he has Tusa's card for the moment, though. He's been able to go back to that racetrack, but it's in zone, so might have a chance. Unfortunate thing, though, so many people are going to be basing around you. I think that reboot might not be a possibility here in Game 4.
Over here, you see Glubsheet and Cheating in the zone at Brutal Bastion, and we have Mini Miner here to fill us in on what's going on at Brutal. Why are all these teams still in the zone?
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much from Brutal Bastion so far, but it's Glubsheet and Cheating that are actually managing to pick up this vault almost every single time. They're off the back of a 10th place finish right now, so going into Game 4, hopefully they can use these mythic pump shotguns, the Havoc pump shotgun, to find some success. At the moment, though, the off-spawn's a little bit of a stalemate. They're not trying to go for those early eliminations. Neither team is really going too aggressively, so hopefully they can use those mythic pumps later on down the line to pick up a better place.
Thank you so much, Mini Miner. You know what's better than a legendary pump?
What?
A mythic pump, and that's exactly what these guys have. Mini's facts, Mini's rights, and hopefully that power will pack a punch towards the end of the game. Vidil Savage, a little bit of rocky start to the first half of games of day 1. Seem to make it towards the end of the game, but they're antisocial level. They're not interacting with anyone. They're not getting any shots off. We can't have that in EU. You have to be talking. You have to be shooting. You have to get that damage.
Where they're playing from right now in Naughty Nets, it's such a difficult area to get Surge, right? Like, you have to have, for a moment, I thought Default's cam was off. I was like, why are we even showing this? He's playing in the dark. He literally, when nothing's happening on the screen, he's just in the dark. Fair enough. Everybody likes to play their own way, right?
Focused in, no distractions.
I don't even know what I was talking about now. I just completely lost my train of thought.
You're talking about Naughty Nets, Mr. Savage.
Yeah. Tough place, tough area to get Surge from. They're going to have to put in a lot of work tonight. A lot of work. Because when those two get to endgame, really strong together. They can get to endgame together really, really strong. I've loved what I've seen from Mr. Savage in IGL this season. I think he's improved so much. But they need to get there, and they're struggling to get there consistently.
They have, like, no options at all, right? It's not like Gyras and Howley and Chari have so many teams to fight. Going back and forth right now. Nice shot from Chari. Make the most of what you have. Oh, they're actually coming right back down for this fight. Jay and Cosmo are having that one. You don't get to shoot me while I fly away.
Jay and Cosmo taking a fight in Storm. Surprises? Are you surprised?
Same old, same old? I'm not surprised.
Same old.
Yeah.
Same old. But is this a fight they'll win? Gyras is bleeding out right now, and so it definitely gives them the upper hand. I don't think they'll go for the loot just yet. They're going to look for the other player.
They're gone? Yeah. Blue lined it in. They're both just, okay, Cosmo's making sure that there's no third party waiting for him. Jay's lagging behind him, maybe trying to find that loot.
I think he was scouting out for Chari, right?
Oh.
I'm not quite sure where Chari is. And he is just sort of hiding in the zone. They assumed he white lined it straight to the zone, but he didn't. He's still off in the zone, and now Jay has found him, and so they'll start to push him. Not satisfied with just picking up Gyras. They want Chari down as well.
I would assume it was 4 points here. Maxed on materials overall. You could probably get a lot more value from keeping this duo alive. Tags over time, right? Especially if you can dominate them like this and make sure they're completely restricted from excess materials and whatnot. But this at least guarantees points. So if placements is something that's, you know, not guaranteed and troublesome, getting a guarantee of points might be the wave still. I feel like just being in zone, having control is the best possible thing to do. Now Jay and Cosmo will have to go right into gold. That's not going to be the wave. Flixie and Gripey, sky high. And we found Pablo Wingo and Bevies. We contained them in a box. They're no longer running around. They also have a sky base in Mega City.
I think the thing for Jay and Cosmo is that they're used to fighting off spawn, having a lot of early surge. And so where they don't have that, they're trying to, you know, be very desperate in terms of how they get there. Jay, sorry, Flixie and Gripey, over here at Mega City. This is going to be one of the better zones for Mega City, where there's just going to be so many opportunities to take shots at players like that. Again, the problem comes down to, are you really going to be able to, you know, like, there'll be opportunities. There's going to be players rotating in this area, but players are much more alert in the finals, at least you'd think. Irazumi and Syned over here at the Rift Island. It's funny because Malibuka tweeted after their win, stay away from the Rift Island. Synod and Ryan Razumi like, yeah, I don't know about all that, guys. We're still going to make our way there.
Are y'all in this game? No?
Oh,
okay.
All right.
Mile in now.
Oh, off to Rift Island we go.
Seems like to be a huge win condition for them because, yeah, it's also so cool to see how different those two teams use it. Thomas is obviously a little bit more towards the sky. Irizumi box to box. Queasy Vino in a late Kenjutsu fight. And this is not for a cash. This is not for positioning really at all because the zone's about to move. They just feel like fighting.
Well, fortunately, they ain't got to move. The zone pulls perfectly on them
Okay,
again,
never
right?
mind.
They ain't really got
Sorry.
to. You clearly don't have the zones.
I wasn't familiar with your game. I have to apologize.
Yeah. It's all good, bro. But look, Doggy and Drazen are contesting these guys and making it, you know, really sort of difficult for them in terms of cutting off loot, just sort of disrupting their regular plan. And I know these guys have spent all week planning and really, you know, trying to figure out the finer details of this general area based off of the teams they knew were going to be around them. And so to see them still doing well, even with, you know, that sort of spanner thrown into the works where a team's just landing on you now that you weren't, you know, prepared for, it's, again, a big testament to why these guys are some of the best players in the world. They can adapt in the highest of stakes situations.
If you don't even believe what Levin's saying and you don't want to take opinion of sorts into facts or into account, you can just look at the way they are on the leaderboards, right? In their worst games, still getting top 4 in that specific game, still alive in the 10th zone. He's absolutely right. These guys are, I would say, the best in the lobby at turning the worst of situations, the biggest of surprises, into the best of circumstances.
Here for Bacon and Ski. Not going to be the kind of game they could play last time around where they just base up in their area and look for easy tags.
I mean, it might be just at least the first part of the game going exactly that way and helping them for the rest of it. 380 damage above Surge. I don't see many teams coming out of Brutal with that much of a padding to play with.
I think the big thing here, right, is that they have been fighting. They've been active.
Yeah.
And now as they make their way into zone, right, it's all about picking good spots as you get in. They're going to rotate in towards the congested side. And maybe they will look to avoid that, not go for the white line to some Putrick, find themselves picking up some limbs. They need to be careful as well because they are deep in the zone.
Oh, they pick up Glubshi. And we're looking at them with the mythic pumps, and that's going to look so good. And that power translates over to Tucson Putrick. That's crazy. I mean, in terms of how this fight ended up dropping this far, this hard, it's tough for the team. Seems like Glubshi had everything set and ready to go. But now that Racetrack team will have another game to play. Chicky and Trulex, I'm liking these guys today in terms of consistency. Every time we tune in with them, I think the highest on Surge over or in the mid kind of ground of many big complexes that get built. It's really, really good.
Yeah, this is clearly a team that has thought well and hard about how they were going to play Surge in this lobby, and it is paying off. It is working out as good as it really can get, because like you said, they are consistently making it through the mid game without much worries. It's just about making things click once they get to end game.
Yeah, that's the issue. Maybe they have a bit too much padding, not that much pressure. In some of these games, people just jump in on their lair and they're not ready, not completely locked in for the fight, but that should change very, very soon. Possible J, easy slide in. Everyone rotating through Mega City. You can see how easy it is to find cover over here. So not many people will go down, but as a result, some of these teams who are very down bad on Surge might not have a chance to actually find it as much. Jay taking a little bit of damage, so a pit stop will have to be made. They'll go straight up. Probably weren't even planning for this, but let's see what Cosmo can find.
Yeah, and it might just work out better for them in terms of just having a higher position to kinetic blade from. Maybe get a bit more distance on their rotation.
Oh, look at where they have to land, though. Completely aquatic. And they're going to be forced into the water here, next to the pier, next to Jury and Ferdoxy, which I personally, not someone I want to box beside, because that's a fight waiting to happen.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And you're seeing what happens, right? When you sort of land in these positions just by the water, the team's elevated, sitting higher above in the land. They're just going to sit there and take shots at you. They know you're in an uncomfortable spot. Anchor and Gold barely moving out of the way of Hellfire and Refsguard, but they're still going to keep applying that pressure.
They're trying to make the most of the situation because after this, they're not going to be able to interact with anyone really from this point on. Look at the rotation the entire lobby has to make, most of which, as we can see right now, you can see the lightning strikes. Every time you see one, that's a duo that's down on Surge. Vaniac and Karmi too. Once again, lobby leaders, 200 points, they're in first place. Issues with Storm Surge.
And in games where, Shai, we've already seen these teams struggling to hold onto their mats deep into the game, this is going to be one of the most taxing games on your materials there is.
This is a triple overlapped Venn diagram. On one side, you have to build on water, your mats cut in half. On the other side, you have to rotate with 20 teams, your mats cut in half. And on the other side, there's 12 zones to play with, Levin. Your mats cut in half again. That's 3 halves. That doesn't mathematically equate.
No mats.
No mats.
Left. And we're going to see it. A team here, Vaniac and Kami, who have been so impressive, leading the way in this lobby. Again, making a tough rotation, having to tank a bunch of damage, and he has the shields to deal with it, but he's slowly running out of the materials. Like you said, mats cut in half.
Twice, and now he has to also deal with Surge, the 4th half, and he's trying to find it. But then playing defense on that, going for these Surge battles, yeah, it costs you ammo, yeah, it costs you a little bit of damage, it also costs you mats.
And slowing down and having to stop here for just a couple of moments is going to give time for all those teams now, from that side he was just on, to now start rotating on top of his head. He needs to start moving quickly.
Tsunami of players, and you can see the pressure getting to him. Vaniac missed edit, and now that costs him half his mats.
Doesn't have any room. Literally no room for error here. This is gonna be so tough.
It's Reason and Janice. Okay, I mean, this is an okay position. Stuck right beside a rock, but everyone has to rotate into you, so I guess Cammy and Seti are looking to beam other players. No one's focusing on your box. I'm just worried for Vaniac.
The natural rotation for him to make there now would be with that kinetic blade, but he doesn't have mats to work with. So I don't know where he lands. He's gonna have to just try landing someone's box, I guess. Something crazy is gonna happen with him. Cammy and Seti, though, in a similar area to him, but they have much more to work with. Kinetic blades with 3 charges will mean that they can safely get to the next zone, and the materials as well. He's down on Surge. He's being taken out by everyone. People are watching him. People are looking at him, hiding behind a ramp, stuck against the side of this hill. It's all over for Vaniac and Kami, and you've got to start thinking about whether or not that first place slot's going to hold.
I think the lobby's just too close to call at this point. No way, Jose, but hopefully they can keep that top 5. Meanwhile, we'll tune into an alternate dimension with Queasy and Vino, because once again, it doesn't look like they're in the same game. Do you feel a sense of pressure?
Right now, for them, no.
A sense of urgency?
No.
Any trouble, Surge?
Not one bit.
Oh, kinetic blades. Good? I mean...
Good.
That's ridiculous.
Doesn't get better than that for them, right? And you can see instantly taking tags onto players, rotating onto the side they want to get to. It's Vidil and Savage, and now they want to take this fight. And Vino, when he wants to take a fight, typically is a scary sight. So very fortunate that a couple players start taking shots at them. They'll reposition, look for another angle, and then look to get ahead of that team, right? Prioritize the positioning over taking the fight. And now these guys are sitting in an even more comfortable position.
This is huge. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Irazumi, Sined, when it comes to influence, when it comes to not actually just hiding from things, having protocols to get you to the end of the game, when it comes to control, power, dominance on the field, these guys have pulse rifles and ultimate high ground. They'll see people move, and I talked about it already, when you have to move over water, when you're moving with 20 teams, when you're accounting for Surge, you're not going to have mats. That's one of the best things for a high ground team with pulse rifles. Mustache and Tayson also work really well against people who are very desperate. They'll bait layers below them even when they don't even exist, and Mustache does it again, finds a few tags, they're good on Surge, they have to move them.
And even their materials in this lobby look fruitful compared to what a lot of the other players will be looking and working with.
These players are trying to work as soon as they get out of their box. I mean, for Mr. Savage, he tried to move Irazumi from up high, those pulse rifles, once they're gonna beam, he's gone.
And we know how powerful they are. Vidil, having to play this one out as a solo, but I've seen so many great solo moments from him this season, and we might just get another one in our hands, put that SMG to good use. Tayson Mustache, though, still alive, haven't quite hit the heights of their game 1 win, but now trying to make something happen, blading their way through onto zone, and ahead of all these other teams.
Oh, I see Queasy rising above. You can kind of see his fin like a shark above water, going for high ground. Not really collapsing on it just yet. This will be up against Irazumi, against double pulse rifles. It will be tough. Meanwhile, Vidil, really good solo clutch in the makings right now. Has that slurp ticking, has a spot a little bit closer to that low ground. Check out Sky, they're going to be pressuring him. They're going to go all in for that box. It's going to be very tough for him to live. Vidil on the bottom side, Flixen going up towards the Sky too. Vino looking to actually claim it and hold it. Is anyone else going to challenge is the question. Sit up on the backside. Gets challenged, knocked down. No one's trying for it. They have it again.
Pushing people off, but still looking now to make sure they solidify it. Cammy and Say are down below, and they still have some materials. We're going to have to start thinking about how to get some more. Playing low ground in this lobby is much, much more difficult. With it going over the water, they needed to start pulling towards the islands.
Not an option for Cammy and Seti yet, which means basically no points to accumulate in terms of eliminations. Reese and Janice kind of in that same circumstance. They want to be able to dip to low to at least have a little bit of a chance to breathe, but that's not going to be possible, so they will get chipped away as they rotate towards their next box, their next layer. Now side by side against boxes down to wood's going to be tough. Stash finds another as him and Tayson get split apart. It's up to him to solo this game, and he goes back and forwards into ground that doesn't exist, into the water, and somehow still finds himself alive.
The zone keeps pulling over water though, so these mats are just going to continue to be burned through. But Dill's making it happen though, running into a box, picking up Sidon, and looking for even more. He's picked up Pandelex now, but Dill is on a tear. He has the pulse rifles, and he has a pathway to the zone.
Power in Vidil's inventory, but what can he actually do with it? Some mats to use as well. I drop map down low, bounce back. How does that look in this claustrophobic layer? On all sides, the mats are dwindling, running low. The corners of your screen turning dark. You're not sure exactly where to shoot. No one's making the first edit. No one's going down just yet. You have to force something. Spray on the walls. Matt looks for it, but can't find anything.
The zone just pulled far, and it's pulling far again. These guys are going to have to make the last of these couple of builds because they don't have any more left. The shotguns need to start connecting. They have the angle, they have the peak, and they have the shotgun pellets. Hitting one, Gravity falls before Matt falls as well. iDrop has to respond. He's looking to try to solidify that. That's 4 points added to the tally.
Finds the finish. An enemy swims right below him, and iDrop can't even see. 29 HP to work with. As just a few more duels left alive. Reason going to be his next target, and he strikes from down below. Trapped. Will he have a chance to breathe again? He's just trying to outlast things, play for that placement. 4 more duels gone down. Huge decision from iDrop. Mixon now back in tow with his duo. Him and Blotch have a chance to win too.
Mixon just focused on staying alive. They didn't quite realize, but now they do. They know he's below. They'll drop down, try to take him out. Don't have that fall. Won't chop it. iDrop will try and respond, but he's no match. Mixon and Blatcher have it easily. Vino now dropping down. He wants to close out the game. He doesn't even want to give them a chance to breathe and realize it's a 2v2. He drops down, picks up one, looks for the other, and it's done. Queasy and Vino, another victory for this team.
A spear with a sharp head in front of it. This duo is unstoppable, unreachable, and absolutely lethal inside the first day of EU.
In a game where so many teams felt like they were struggling, trying to hustle their way through that game, these guys had the easiest of rides. It was so simple for them all throughout that end game, and they close it out in typical Queasy and Vino fashion.
I'm hearing that Queasy's falling asleep. He's having trouble staying awake this FNCS. I mean, if you're playing like this, then things are going to protocol. They're going your way. Vino's down low, taking on these 1v2s. Everything's going to plan. These guys are the bread and butter of EU. Nothing can stop them.
And look, we were talking about how earlier Queasy's probably falling asleep on hype. He most definitely is. Because earlier in the season, he would have at least had to heal off, right? You know, try play for the heal off, run back in his own, have to actually do something. Now he can just sit there and watch as Vino picks up all their limbs down below.
Whether it's comedy, action, suspense, you can give a tag for this duo because we can't really figure it out. Are they sleeping? Are they awake? We know they're great. What do Adam and the analysts think? Because that's a nuts game.
Absolutely nuts. I mean, Queasy and Vino again, victory royale here. I mean, I'm glad we hyped them up at the top of the show because they're proving that the proof is in the pudding right now. Unbelievable scenes. I mean, the fact that they split up as well. One, you know, Queasy up top, Vino down below, sweeping up. Absolutely amazing. Taco, what a great game from this pair.
And it's almost expected at this point. I mean, the moment that you see Queasy establishing himself on that high ground, just continuing to pose such a threat from above, he doesn't even need to IGL for Venom. He can use his own eyesight, and it became a situation of stay alert, stay alive for everybody aside from those two.
Look, I'm getting a little sense of deja vu, right? We've seen this today. We've seen Queasy and Vino dominate that high ground from the 1 versus 2 down below to Queasy, you know, up in the clouds, kind of looking down. Oh, Vino just took out 2 opponents, just got us the VR, you know, I'll take it.
Absolutely right. I mean, this team right now, we love to kind of share with you guys at home how much we get excited about these particular duos and who we think is going to go the way. But it really is a case now of everything they've done up until this point, the experiences they've had. It all comes together, the combination, everything. We're seeing it in front of our very eyes here. Why they are so good, what they're able to move with everything that's thrown in front of them. They are an unstoppable force, Taco.
Again, it's just the awareness level, really, that this duo chooses to consistently maintained throughout the entirety of a single lobby, because it doesn't matter who might actually be trying to prioritize height. At some point, if Queasy and Veno are still up, they're going to chop you down, and they're going to just siege it by force.
Look, they make it happen, right? They can get the job done. I'm looking forward to see if maybe we can get a Thomas HD off spawn again and have them go up against Queasy Vino in the late game, but they're going to have to get off the start for that.
Yeah, I think we'd all love to see that. But what we're excited to see here as well is currently how the leaderboard stands as well. Let's take a look at this. The standings right now, and there they are atop the rest of the pack here in Grand Finals after the game from before here. Queasy and Vino with 280 points, 20 eliminations, 200 placement points. I mean, they are way out in front here, Taka.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, having 2 Victory Royales is really starting to become more of a separating factor. Those eliminations might be worth 4 points a pop, but if you can just keep collecting more and more Game 1 wins, there's only so much you can do. And Queasy and Veno, they just seem unstoppable.
They do, but let's take a look at the number 2 on the leaderboard. Blacha and Mixin at 246 points. This duo is not someone you want to sleep on. Mixin here, you can see 4 eliminations already, bumping it up to 5 on SETI. They were looking unstoppable in this match. The synergy, the chemistry, they were playing together. And although it did ultimately end with the Veno 1 versus 2, at least they got that second place and a good amount of eliminations that bumped them up to that second place spot on the leaderboard.
They're basically just making do with what they've got, because we can see their mats running incredibly low, forced to kind of take shelter underneath some of those low layers that have already been established from before. But I think where it really starts for this duo is that they've actually been slightly surprise contested over at Meadow Mansion. It's been Mikkel and Monet that have been forced off of their original drop spot because of Vanyak and Karmi. And so seeing Blacha and Mixin find that success, I think, stems back to the fact they've got their damage early.
Yeah, they really have. They bumped up 3 points to 3 positions now into second. Let's look at the rest of the leaderboard here as well. We can see now as well, Cami and SETI, there they are, sat in 7th position right now. 8 eliminations, 170 placements. They are putting themselves in contention. They're managing to stay in there. May not have a victory royale just yet, Takata, but they're managing to get in there, at least put themselves up for consideration when it comes to Grand Finals and the Axel Champions.
Right, it's not a bad place to be in, right? Being in the top 10, being in the 7th place spot, they're kind of one big game away from bumping themselves up to that top 3 or even, you know, second, first place on the leaderboard. We saw what Thomas HD and Malibuco were capable of when they got a big, impactful match. So if Tammy and Seti can keep up the consistency and then get one big game, you know, they'll make their way up that leaderboard.
I mean, I think Seti and Cami are probably the embodiment of slow and steady wins the race, because how many times have we seen them in this position where they're not necessarily in that top 5 just yet, but it only takes 1 or 2 games to actually catapult yourself into that position, and it's proven already by how far they've climbed as is.
It really is. It's exciting. It's 4 games down, 2 to go today. But one thing we often talk about here on the show is Storm Surge. For newer players as well, they want to get to know exactly what's going on here. But Storm Surge, look at this. I love the lights have changed like a superhero. Full control right now. Storm Surge, a massive factor in this. And for those that might be wanting to know more about it, how has it been affecting Grand Finals thus far, Takata?
Yeah, so let's take a look here. We're on the southeast side of the map by Mega City, and if you look at the left side of this zone, that's going to be the congested side, and that's exactly where Vanyak and Karmi positioned themselves, but on a hill, so they're elevated enough to see all those duos that are rotating in through the POIs to the congested side of this zone, where the contrary dead side by Naughty Nets and Kajutsu Crossing, and doesn't have a lot of people. Now they have a lot of options from all these players, all these duos rotating in to get that damage.
And what I really love about this from Vanyak and Karmi is that this is key adaptability here, something that you kind of expect from a duo that's consistently made it into Grand Finals 10 times combined, because Vanyak, Karmi, they used to be able to depend on Mikkel and Monet at their original drop spot south of Frenzy Fields, but since they pushed off Mikkel and Monet from trying to directly 50-50 them there, this is their adaptation by choosing to take sites instead towards that congestion over by Mega City. Granted, it didn't pan out for them. They definitely had their struggles, but it's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts, but I mean, they got a good job done, right?
They get a great job done. I mean, I think Storm Surge, I mean, having to not think about it when you get those tags are so pivotal as well. I mean, everything's to play for with 2 games left today and a whole day tomorrow as well. We are going into our next game very shortly. Who will top the leaderboard by the end of the day? 2 games left to find out what's going to happen next, but I feel another storm brewing right now. I can feel it in the air. It's time to jump into game number 5.
The penultimate game of the day is here. A last opportunity for a lot of these teams to start to set the precedent as we head into the back end of the games, right? Because yes, today's games are starting to wrap up, Shio, but still plenty more Fortnite to be played.
6 more games on day number 2, and in EU, we've seen the biggest changes there. You can be first place and then dwindle all the way into irrelevancy only on this region.
It's mad. Some of the things we're seeing from these teams, right? The one thing I will say is that, again, if Malibuca and Thomas can start to get their way back into this one, how far can they rise in the standings, right? That will be the question. Queasy and Vino's dominance, I think, was inevitable in today's games. The question is, are there going to be more hurdles thrown at them? They're already finding one in terms of being contested. Can they keep up with it?
Absolutely. Being contested, being in that position is huge for the lobby leaders. For the rest of the people who are kind of in the mid-game, kind of against these players, Putrick and Toos, where do they move overall, right? When they're going off spawn, how do they turn those games into points? Shimoki, Swizzy being contested by Podesai, Snazy, how do they switch up their entire games all across the line?
Yeah, and I think the big thing, right, is if you do find yourself lower down in the standings, there are still so many more opportunities. You have to keep a good mental. You have to start being observant, right, of areas and things you can do to capitalize come tomorrow. Because again, it will be a whole different lobby in feeling. Same players, but it will feel very, very different. And you can use these last 2 games to start to figure out exactly how you can benefit from that. We're seeing the players glide on in here. Trulex and Cheeky over on the south side, Slappy, Tayson and Mustache on the north side. But here at the racetrack, it's Putrick and Toos against Malibuca and Thomas for the 5th time.
Featuring Bevies and Pablo Ringo. I'm going to add that feature now onto this track. Race or not. Thomas HD, Malibuca are on a timer. Seems like Putrick and Toos always get this flip truck and have so much shield to work with. This would have basically been almost an elimination onto Putrick, but as Malibuca's shooting, Toos knocks him down. Thomas HD forced into the same jump. I'm looking at my memories. I see deja vu, and no one's winning here at all. Because from the backside comes Bevies. Thomas HD finds one, is able to get the finish. This could be huge. Toos in front of him, and he gets that siphon of materials into the trash can, 13 HP, and actually blocks Toos getting out. Thomas, the adaptability, forcing Bevies to shoot Toos. And they'll have a few more shields and mats to work with. I think that, yeah, Thomas will finally go down to Pablo Wingu. And these guys are the winners at the end of the day.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right? Because they just can't do anything about it. Pablo and Bevies are just going to roll on through. They hunt him down. And again, you know,
Aspettate, ma che game siamo? 5. Un'ora dovrebbe essere passata e vediamo la nostra ricompensa. Signori, 5 game ragazzi, poi la vedrò ragazzi, la FNCS. Ragazzi, quanti sono passati? 5 game. E vi dovreste accontentare già con questo. Abbiamo guardato per un'ora l'FNCS. Dovremmo sbloccare il coso, il backpack dell'FNCS. Backpack dell'FNCS. Detto questo, il bundle ci costa 1200 V-Buck. Vabbè ragazzi, ma non credo che riusciamo a shoppare. Manca la skin. Devo sperare che qualcuno me lo regala. Allora sapete che facciamo? Yeah. Non credo che sia una cosa bella, una cosa brutta. Provo